Did you realize you were not the favorite child? My sister Emma and I lost our dad when I was 12. Mom remarried within months, and suddenly we had 3 stepbrothers. That's when everything changed. For my stepbrothers' graduation, they each got new laptops. When Emma graduated, she got our dad's old watch. It's meaningful, they said. When I needed a laptop for schoolwork, they said the family computer was enough. The final straw? I'd saved every penny from my weekend job for mechanic school. One night, I heard my stepdad telling Mom to use my savings for his son's football camp. They could go pro, he said. Your kids still have their father's pension anyway. That night, Emma showed me the emergency fund she'd hidden for us. We packed our bags and moved in with our grandfather, who taught us everything about cars. Mom's response? She turned Dad's garage workshop into a gaming room and sold his vintage Mustang, the one he was teaching us to restore, to buy my stepbrothers a boat. 5 years later, Emma is a manager at a workshop and I design racing engines. Last week, our stepbrothers started a crowdfunding campaign for their fitness channel. Mom texted asking us to donate. I sent back a photo of Dad's watch with a message. Sorry, just carrying on a meaningful legacy. Some people trade gold for glitter and did you realize what made the high school legend become a legend? We had this economics teacher who was obsessed with his real-world preparation rules. One was that you had to buy a $2 tardy pass if you were late. Actual money, not fake classroom currency. Most kids just paid up, afraid of getting bad grades. Then there was Maria. She'd gotten late once because she was helping her little sister, who had fallen in the parking lot. The teacher didn't care and demanded his $2. Maria calmly pulled out a notebook and started writing. Pay now or get detention, he threatened. I'm calculating something, she said, still writing. The teacher lost it, threatening to fail her. Maria stood up and handed him her calculations. She'd worked out that with 6 classes a day, if just 2 kids per class paid $2, he was making $24 daily, $120 weekly, roughly $4,320 yearly, tax-free. Should I show this to the principal? She asked sweetly. Or would you prefer I email it to the school board? He went pale. The tardy fee disappeared that day. 2 years later, during graduation, she handed him $2 and said, for teaching me how the real world really works. The school still used
What's the craziest thing someone has done at your school? I went to a really strict school, like military academy levels of strict. One of the worst things you could do was walk in the hallway without a hall pass. If a teacher caught you, instant detention. If the principal caught you, suspended. It was basically a crime. But my friend Austin didn't like rules, so he did something crazy. One day, he snuck a hall pass home. He studied every little detail, the paper, the font, the signature. Then he went full-on criminal mastermind mode. He printed hundreds of identical copies, and like the genius he was, he started selling them for $5 a pass. By the next week, there were dozens of students roaming the halls at all times. Teachers couldn't do anything. Every time they stopped a student, they would just pull out their hall pass. They started getting suspicious, so they called for a full hallway sweep. Every student had to prove their hall pass was real, and since Austin had printed so many, the teachers had no idea which were fake. At that point, they lost it. They put out an announcement. If you have a fake hall pass, turn it in now or face suspension. Austin, he doubled his prices. He turned the fake hall pass business into a full-blown black market. For weeks, students were still getting away with it until they found the printer. Austin got caught red-handed in the library, printing another batch. They dragged him straight to the principal's office, and just like that, Austin got expelled for running an underground hall pass empire. And once they noticed a small imperfection on the fake passes, they suspended 30 different students. What's the dumbest reason someone wanted to fight you? I was sitting in class when a kid got up to go to the bathroom. As he walked past my desk, he tripped. Not just a little stumble. He went full airborne. Feet left the ground, arms flailed, papers went flying. The whole classroom gasped. And the second he caught himself, he turned around furious and pointed straight at me. Bro, why did you trip me? I blinked. My foot was literally under my desk. There was zero chance I could have tripped him. But he had already decided that I was the villain in his tragic fall. I told him, dude, I didn't do anything. You tripped on your own shoelaces. But this man was not having it. Nah, I felt you kick me, bro. At this point, he was straight up ready to fight me, throwing out threats like, you're lucky I don't beat you up right now, and don't let me catch you outside. You're done. Instead of handling it like a normal person, he told the teacher. So now we're both dragged into the hallway while the teacher, who clearly did not get paid enough for this nonsense, just stares at us. I calmly explained what happened. Meanwhile, this dude was yelling like he was in a courtroom drama. The teacher just sighed, looked him dead in the eyes and said, dude, he didn't do anything, and that should have been the end of it. But no, because the next day, as I walked past his desk, this dude dared to stick his foot out and trip me. I ate the floor. Papers went flying. The whole class gasped. He just sat back like nothing happened. I didn't even hesitate. I got up, walked straight to the teacher and said, he just tripped me on purpose. My teacher, who was already exhausted from yesterday, just stared at him and said, really? And that was it. He got suspended on the spot. As he was leaving the classroom, he turned back, said, this is your fault, and then tripped on the doorway. What's the dumbest Have you ever joined a group chat and just became their boss? So it all started when I made a joke during class and everyone laughed, including the teacher. That never happens. I felt powerful. Later that day, someone added me to the class group chat and said, we need this energy. I thought it was just for homework reminders. Nope, it was chaos. People were sending 43 memes a minute, arguing about presentations, and one kid kept dropping his SoundCloud link like it was breaking news. I tried to mute it, but someone DM'd me, can you pin the schedule? So I did. Next thing I know, people are messaging me like I'm the manager of the group chat. Can you remove Alex? He's spamming minion gifs again. Can you make a poll for pizza toppings? Is the test actually on Monday, or is Josh lying again? I didn't ask for this role. I just wanted to know when the next quiz was. Then someone added Mr. Danner, our history teacher, to the chat as a joke. Before I could remove him, he typed, thanks for the invite, and dropped a thumbs up. Total silence. One person actually left the group. I messaged him like, hey, sorry, and he replies, no worries. Pineapple on pizza is elite. Also, quiz is on Wednesday. Now he sends history memes every morning. He made his own Bitmoji. It's unsettling. I tried stepping down, removed myself from admin. They added me back twice. I muted the chat 3 days ago. It still finds me. Last week, someone asked if I could write them a letter of recommendation. For what? I don't know, but I said yes. Have you ever joined?
Do you know there's actually a test to find?
Have you ever ordered coffee and accidentally became a cult leader? So last Sunday, I walk into this new artsy cafe called Bruniverse. No menu, just hanging vines, incense, and a guy playing flute in the corner. I step up to the counter and say, "Can I just get a black coffee?" The barista pauses. "You mean The Awakening?" I blink. "Yeah, sure." She strikes a tiny gong. Everyone in the cafe freezes. The flute guy stops mid-note. A man in flowing robes walks out from the back and says, "The pure one has arrived." People start bowing. Someone drapes a robe over my shoulders. Another guy whispers, "The prophecy said he'd order with no modifiers." Before I can run, they guide me to this mossy green throne chair and hand me a steaming mug and a crystal chalice. I take a sip. Tastes like regular coffee with maybe a hint of cinnamon. Then the entire room chants, "He has sipped. The circle is complete." I'm freaking out, but I commit. I raise the mug and say the first thing I can think of. "May your espresso be strong and your ex's weak." Gasps. Applause. Someone faints. A woman presses a glowing stone into my hand and whispers, "Return Friday. You will lead the chant." So now, apparently, I'm the... Have you ever ordered What's the craziest reason you ended up on a reality show? So I walked into a fancy electronics store because my blender caught fire making frozen margaritas. I'm in sweats, holding iced coffee, just trying to exist. Suddenly, a guy with a headset grabs me and goes, "You're late. They've already started filming." I go, "Filming what?" He slaps a mic on me and shoves me through some double doors. Boom, I'm on a set with a fake kitchen and 3 cameras in my face. A woman whispers, "Just smile." That's what I did last season. Last season? Turns out I've been mistaken for a contestant on Blender Battles, some streaming reality show where people compete to make innovative smoothies under pressure. Before I can escape, the host yells, "Round 1, tropical twist, go." I panic blend pineapple, ginger, coconut milk, and a rolling carrot. I call it vacation regret. A judge says it tastes like sunblock and ambition. I advance. Round 2, freestyle madness. I go rogue. Espresso, strawberries, cereal marshmallows, 2 Doritos, and cough drops. I name it breakfast breakdown. One judge cries. Another calls it dangerously original. Final round, I blend pickles, peanut butter, and blue Gatorade. No reason, just vibes. I come in second and win a $200 gift card to the store I wandered into. As I leave, the real contestant arrives, sees me with the prize blender and goes, "Wait, you competed?" I nod. He sighs and goes, "Yeah, I couldn't beat that chaos energy anyway." Now I'm known as the Blender Menace, and my new blender has a warning label that just... What's the crazy...
My mom wants me to punish my daughter. My sister had a kid who is a brat, and I don't like him. Neither does my daughter. Whenever my sister goes to any family event, she never watches her own kids and expects everyone else to watch her kid, including my own children, who have already complained about it. She will leave the room with her toddler, who acts like a wild animal. I told my children not to be bothered, so my daughter left the room when my sister left her alone with her kid to gossip with my mom. Her toddler pulled all the food off by the tablecloth and spilled red pasta sauce all over my mom's carpet. The kid was screaming, and my sister started to yell at my daughter. That's when I told my sister it was her responsibility to watch her own damn kid. Then she said she thought my daughter was watching the baby. I asked her, "Did you ask my daughter to?" She said she thought my daughter was smart enough to watch kids if they were alone with them. My daughter said maybe my sister should be smarter next time she thinks of having a kid that she can't control or watch. Then my mom shamed my daughter for it and told us to leave her house. My mom...
What's the craziest thing that ever happened at your school? Back in 8th grade, we had this substitute teacher named Mr. Thomas. He looked like everyone's grandpa. Gray hair, suspenders, calm voice, and he always brought cookies for the class. Everyone adored him. One Friday, he was filling in for our science teacher. Everything was normal. We were finishing up a group project when suddenly the fire alarm started blaring. We all stood up, grabbing our stuff, ready to head out like usual. But then Mr. Thomas raised his hand. "Wait," he said, eyes fixed on the hallway. That's when we realized something was off. Normally, you'd hear students yelling, footsteps, teachers shouting instructions. But this time, nothing. Just the alarm screaming through an empty hallway. No one outside, no movement. Mr. Thomas's whole expression changed. His face went pale. Everyone to the back of the room. Now, we didn't even hesitate. He locked the door, shut the blinds, and told us to stay low and stay quiet. Some kids were whispering, asking what was going on, but he just kept looking through the small window in the door. Then we heard it. A loud crash somewhere down the hall, followed by running footsteps. Mr. Thomas didn't flinch. He quietly grabbed one of those long metal rods from the lab sink, the ones that hold up test tubes, and stood beside the door, perfectly still. A few doors down, someone started banging and twisting door handles. Then ours rattled hard. One kid started crying. Mr. Thomas held up a finger to his lips and whispered, "It's okay, I've got you." The banging stopped. Silence. Then sirens in the distance. Turns out someone had pulled the fire alarm to break into the building. The police caught the guy right outside the cafeteria. He had zip ties and a fake badge in his backpack. Nobody ever figured out what he planned to do, but we all knew one thing. Mr. Thomas wasn't just some kind old substitute. He was a retired Marine, and that day he protected 23 8th graders with nothing but a steel rod and nerves of steel. What's the
Apparently.
What's the dumbest reason you got punished at school? I was walking through the hallways when I saw a wallet on the ground. Being a normal, functioning human, I picked it up and took it straight to the lost and found. Or at least that was the plan. I handed it to the lady at the desk, expecting a thank you, or at least a nod of appreciation. Instead, she stared at me like I just tried to pay for lunch with Monopoly money. I was about to ask if something was wrong when she picked up the phone and called the principal. Within minutes, he stormed in like I had triggered a school-wide lockdown. They took the wallet and dragged me to the office without a single explanation. I sat down completely lost, until the principal leaned forward and said, "So, you stole this wallet?" I blinked. I literally just returned it. He nodded like that somehow confirmed my guilt. Exactly. Exactly what? Why would I steal something and then give it back? That's when they hit me with the dumbest logic I've ever heard. Well, the wallet was stolen, yeah, by someone else. I explained everything, told them exactly where I found it, even begged them to check the cameras. They refused. Then they threatened to suspend me. I was done. I called my dad. 15 minutes later, he walked into the office, sat down, and crossed his arms. Explain. The principal repeated the whole ridiculous story. My dad let them finish, then stared at them for a long second. Then he said, "So you're accusing my son with zero proof?" Silence. Then he leaned in. Check the cameras. The principal coughed, and then they dropped everything. No suspension, no apology. They just handed me back my backpack. What's the...
How far will you go for your dog? We literally gave up everything for her. I grew up in China, and my dad bought our dog Milo when I was born. She was there my entire life. We did everything with her until we took her out to the park one day, and while both of us weren't looking, her leash came undone. She followed a few other dogs away from us, and by the time we realized she wasn't there, it was too late. We spent that whole night searching for her and covered our neighborhood in posters. I couldn't sleep or stop crying, but a few days later, my dad came home and had found her. He said he knew where she was, but when I saw his face, I could see he had been crying. He just hugged me, and when I asked where she was, it was the worst news I could have gotten. She had been taken by animal control and sent to a facility where animals are killed and used for food. My dad tried everything to get her out, even offering a lot of money, but they refused. He tried hiring a lawyer, but nothing worked. He saw thousands of dogs there, and other families in tears trying to get them back. For the next 2 days, he barely slept and was completely heartbroken, but eventually he had enough. There was only one thing he knew he could do to get Milo back. So the next day, he sold the company he spent his entire life building, and the day after that, he used the money to buy the entire facility. We went completely broke, but that day he saved over 2,000 dogs and brought our sweet Milo home. How far will you...
Have you ever said be right back and came back 3 days later? So I'm gaming with my friends on Friday night. Full chaos. Everyone yelling over each other. At one point, my mom yells from the kitchen, "Dinner's ready." I tell the guys, "Be right back." Simple, short, honest. Except it wasn't. I go eat, watch a quick episode of something, and fall asleep mid-snack. Next morning, I wake up, check my phone, and completely forget the game ever existed. 3 days later, I open Discord, and it's a war zone. The chat's flooded with messages. Bro died mid-match. Funeral on Monday. Should we kick his ghost from the party? One guy even changed his profile picture to a candle. Another wrote, he said be right back, and never returned. Someone pinned it like it was scripture. I try to explain, "Guys, I was just eating dinner." They're like, "Dinner? For 72 hours? What were you eating? A feast for kings." Apparently, they won that match without me and dedicated the victory to my memory. They even made a group called BRB Memorial Squad, complete with a fake lore post about the one who logged out. Now, every time I join a call, the chat goes silent. Someone whispers, "Is that really him?" Another goes, "He's back from the AFK realm." One even plays sad violin music whenever I leave, like it's my final goodbye. So yeah, I said be right back once, and now every time I disconnect, my friends light virtual candles and prepare for morning, just in case I never return again. Have you ever...
What did your child do that you weren't allowed to be proud of? About 3 years ago, I got a call at work from my daughter's daycare. She was 4 at the time. They told me they needed to see me immediately. My heart sank. I left work and rushed over, thinking, what could she have done? When I arrived, they sat me down in the office with her. She looked nervous, fidgeting with her hands, and my mind raced, assuming the worst. The staff started explaining a situation, but it wasn't making sense until they dug deeper. Turns out there was a boy at the daycare who was a known biter. My daughter had even come home with teeth marks on her back once. This boy had been causing problems for a while, biting kids and even backing one little girl, smaller and younger than him, into a corner between 2 brick walls. That's when my daughter stepped in. She put herself between the boy and the little girl. When the boy tried to charge at them, teeth bared, she sidestepped and shoved him into the wall hard. He ended up shattering 3 of his front teeth. My daughter calmly took the other girl's hand, walked up to a caregiver and said, "There's been an accident." I was doing everything I could not to burst out laughing or cheer. Instead, I asked my daughter to wait for me outside. The staff then told me the boy's parents were furious and considering pressing charges. I looked them in the eye and said, if they want to press charges because my daughter stood up to protect someone from being attacked, they can call my lawyer. Truthfully, I didn't even have a lawyer, but I said it with confidence. I hugged my daughter as soon as we got to the car. She had ice cream for dinner that night, and we never heard another word about, oh, and that boy, he never came back.
What dumb rule was put in place just because of you? Our lunch period was a disaster. So loud that we got put on silent lunch for over a month. No talking, no whispering, nothing. But I wasn't about to just sit there in silence every day, so I did what any reasonable person would do. I taught my entire table sign language. It started small, just a few simple words and phrases, but within a week we were having full conversations without making a sound. The teachers didn't catch on at first, but once they saw us laughing and talking with our hands, they started paying closer attention. One day the principal pulled me aside. "It's not fair to the other students," she said. Apparently the kids who didn't know sign language complained, saying it gave us an unfair advantage. I argued that nothing in the rules said we couldn't use our hands, but she wasn't having it. The next day, a new rule was in place. No sign language during silent lunch. So now, not only were we banned from speaking, but we weren't even allowed to move our hands